Welcome to Complicated Opportunities. Today, a Plotweaver RPG podcast with a couple of GMs. We are actually going to be discussing the Plotweaver newsletter that came out for April 2026. I'm going to turn it over to Irving to kind of get us started and roll through some of this.
Yeah, so the Plotweaver newsletter, as Merrick mentioned in that interview episode, go listen if you haven't, is something that anyone can sign up to get just on the Plotweaver website. And it just, they have oftentimes links to interesting articles written by developers, or I think really just by developers so far, talking about the process. They also have an open call to all artists for a lead artist position. So if you have a portfolio, you should do that. And they also tell us little interesting things about their internal playtests, because Plotweaver is going to have a much more open testing, environment than CosmereRPG did. And so they're telling us the closed alpha is coming in May, and they're aiming to playtest. And then there's a whole list of a bunch of things that are really, really cool. So I want to talk about them today. And first on that list is Delver, a specialty or subpath for the brand new Explorer heroic path.
Yeah, that's just a spoiler for the crowd, or for the audience. This is the first time I'm seeing a lot of this, because I had a long day at work today, so I'm just now getting to this. A seventh heroic path already? That surprises me.
This is so funny because I literally just asked about adding a new heroic path.
In an interview we recorded on Sunday,
Yeah, this Sunday, which is so funny. I'm gonna have to ask if they knew.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we're specifically testing one of the specialties, this Delver one. And I mean, really to me, it seems very plainly named. It's an explorer, and a Delver is someone that goes deep into ruins and archaeological sites. And a lot of that, this you'll see, feels very Indiana Jones as we get into it. One that raises, and there's not much to talk. We don't know. It's an entirely new heroic path, so we don't have any, what is the explorer key talent? I'm not sure I could come up with a new heroic path key talent. They're all so transformative. I wouldn't really know where to begin. So I got to imagine it's something that's pretty crazy for that environment,
Yeah, and
or
I don't
that
even
flavor.
know that in probably, and I don't even know that in D&D, I can't think of a path or a class in D&D that this kind of would compare to. Because don't get me wrong, some of the heroic paths have hey, clearly that's bardic inspiration. It's being used differently, and I think it's pretty cool. But I have no idea what that would be. So yeah, and the key talent, like you said, the key talents are so all over the place, in a good way, that I wouldn't even have a clue.
Yeah, I'd really hope that, in the same way that warrior or leader kind of have these very combat focused and influential key talents, or hunter has an influential key talent. I want to see something that does that for endeavors, and maybe specifically exploration ones, just because of that explorer name. But then I wouldn't want it to be too pigeonholed. So I'm extremely excited to see what we get from that. And I'm also very excited to see the alpha documents, to the legal side of the alpha stuff, to know what we can talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, because it does say that there will be an open alpha playtest later this summer.
Yeah,
so,
but this does say closed alpha, so I assume we won't be able to talk about it then. I think that's really all for Explorer right now. Not much to talk about. The next one raises some questions for me, and I have some feelings. It's called a Spirit Broker. It's a new envoy specialty, which it seems specialty is the name, not subpath, like we've been saying. I don't know. So to me, I am hoping that this is this is for someone who negotiates with a world of magic, or a world of something other than the normal physical world. I don't want magic in the heroic paths.
Unfortunately, as we go through, I don't know that you're going to.
Well, and that's Nikki and I had a conversation about the one later on, that maybe gives me some hope, but again, we're not sure. And maybe I trust that they're going to do it right.
Yeah,
I just know what I have a gut feeling towards, and so I'm really nervous about what Spirit Broker could be, because I don't think it's a good idea to put magic in the heroic paths.
I think it could be done like because when I'm hearing Spirit Broker, and again, we have no idea if we're remotely close about any of these, but like I almost think of like a go between or like a medium.
Yeah, I think a medium does make sense in a way.
Which I don't really see a huge issue with that, and maybe because like maybe it's because I don't think the heroic paths get overshadowed by magic as much as some people do. So like I don't mind. It would be weird if like focus is what's doing this, unless you're justifying it by saying I'm using my focus to connect with the spirit world, but I can't interact with physical world with that
Well,
ability. I
like,
would
I mean,
need
I'd
essence or
argue that like someone who seeks enlightenment and spirituality through meditation, you could say focus is like a way to use that.
yeah, like you could almost use that if you were doing like a monk class. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, like almost like
Yeah.
key
And,
points.
maybe spirit broker, the whole broker thing throws me off, but like maybe it's a way to that. So we'll see.
Yep.
One that I think is going to be exactly what it says on the tin, and I will be playing this in every game, a tactician leader.
Yeah. That's pretty straightforward.
I mean, if it is like half of what duelist is for warrior, I'm in.
Well,
Just
and
that battlefield control, that using your leadership in a cool way. The warlord is a favorite class of mine from D&D 4e. I really like Draw Steel's tactician class, and so I'm really hoping that this brings, like, I already love leader, so I'm hoping this brings some shades of that like combat tricksiness to
yeah,
Plotweaver.
yeah, because I'm hoping that like and mind you, I haven't played that because I didn't play fourth edition of D&D at all, but the because the strategist in the that's in one of the Stormlight paths, I believe, like the scholar tree, like works exactly like you would think it does on a like when you're in a party. So I'm hoping like tactician almost gives you like some advantages going in, stuff like that. Like that'd be pretty cool to see. Where you can almost like pre-buff the party in some ways.
Yeah, I think that would be. I can agree with that. I don't know about pre-buff. I think it should be more reactive. Um,
Gotcha.
uh, then sort of next on the list is the archaeologist scholar, which
Indiana Jones, baby.
yeah, Indiana Jones, Doctor Aphra, whatever. Like,
Oh yeah, Dr. Afra.
archaeologist has so much potential,
Oh
and
man.
I'm actually really happy it's in folio and not just like the urban or modern fantasy setting.
Because it gives this honestly gives me hope that like I think when I thought of folio, I definitely thought of like very much a D&D comparison, but I'm almost wondering if like some of these it might be a little more further towards modern times than the normal setting of that. Although I guess like now that I'm thinking about stuff like Baldur's Gate, like that
There's
would
always old ruins you're digging through. Like, fantasy is
yeah,
inherently post-apocalyptic. It's just someone else's apocalypse.
right.
That's it relies on digging up lost technology and knowledge. And
Knowing how
real
much of
world
it
archaeology digs up lost knowledge or
yeah.
like insight into an ancient world. And I think that fits with Scholar. I think there's a lot of opportunity for something cool. It might be our opportunity for a scholar that sort of crosses over with the typical like rogue archetype of dealing with traps or like kind of navigating the dungeon.
Yeah. It
Um,
could be I also think of like how much Merrick loves Wheel of Time. Like I think it'd be if in the artwork they found something that looks like a Mercedes symbol being discovered, just because that's one of those callbacks in Wheel of Time
yeah,
that I always get a kick out of every time it
that's
happens.
the first time they're in Tanchico, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
yep. So
Hills of
that would be
Tanchico, baby.
cool. But again, we can only speculate in like what is it going to do. I think very clearly it's going to be about dealing with lost civilizations, which is a staple of the fantasy genre if you think about it. Uh, the next one that also has me nervous is another scholar specialty. It's the weave crafter, and Nikki and I talked about it. We're hoping that it's about like the academic study of magic, because we know that the
Oh, that'd be cool.
thread or weaves are what magic is, and so maybe
Yeah, and
it's
the
going to
world's
be
called the
like,
Tapestry.
yeah, maybe it's going to kind of be like an Artifabrian, where it's like this is how you either academically study magic or use magic to make enchanted objects for mundane people.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. Yeah, because I mean, we were, full disclosure, in my personal Discord, like a bunch of us were talking about this as it came out, and I definitely was falling in the thinking of a sorcerer, but that could make sense too, especially being in the scholar tree. That actually probably make, to be perfectly honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what this is, and I understand your reasons. Now, the next one screams Irving.
Screams Irving or screams Kyle?
I mean, a little bit of both, because if it's a dwarf bulwark,
Oh yeah, well, you're
uh,
absolutely right there. Yeah,
so a
the Bulwark Fighter, or sorry, not whoopsie, wrong game. The
wrong game. Come
Bulwark
on now,
Warrior specialty. Uh,
give it, give it, give it. I want it. I want it. Just
yeah, dude,
inject that right into my veins.
like that is imagine pairing that with like Stoneward. I bet it would be nasty.
Oh, that
Uh,
will happen.
yeah, I know you'll do it immediately, but
Yep.
I'm
We'll put
excited.
that
I
on the
think it
side.
looks really cool. Like the idea sounds cool. It really hasn't been done yet. Obviously, I think we've seen the fighter or the warrior paths for Mistborn.
Yeah, I think so. And one of the, I'm trying to remember what all they're called from what we
Yeah,
saw, because I
I'm
want to say
not
that
sure
was at
right now.
Nexus. Yeah,
I think it was. I'd have to
I
check
was
my
thinking there was
notes, but
something like that, which would make sense with like
yeah.
Kolos blooded, just big dudes that burn people.
But a bulwark does sound like I'm, I'm not a big fan of the double shield warrior archetype, but I
I'm
think
not
that
either.
this, like, if someone was going to do it, it's a bulwark fighter or
Shield,
warrior.
shield and hammer, shield and axe. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'll see you guys next year.
Yeah. And so I think that idea sounds sweet. I'm excited to see it. It gives mad Elden Ring vibes just from my mental thought place.
Yep.
Um,
I've already got my stone shield. Like, yeah, we're
yeah.
in. I'm so in.
Yeah, I think that'll be sweet. The next one is the Fire Elementalist Adept path. And so the way it's spelled adept is not capitalized. So I think that's what they're going to call their specific sort of caster or like magic user paths are adept paths. And the Fire Elementalist is the one they want to test. So clearly, I don't know if that's going to be like a whole path in and of itself, or if it's going to be a specialty of a larger elementalist tree. But the fire one is what they're looking at, and that makes sense. That's always going to be the most popular because people want to cast fireball.
Yeah. And the funny part with, like, because, yeah, as you meant, like, ooh, in foliage.
Frenzied flame.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't
Inflicting
know.
madness
I mean,
everywhere.
we'll see what it's like, but if I had to like think of other games that have an elementalist, it's very much the caster blaster situation. And so that's what I think could be going on here. Importantly, it means we'll understand how spells are going to look in the game. Obviously, it's alpha, so that could change, but I think historically, once things get to this sort of stage, it's more iterating on what's there instead of like starting whole cloth.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see the method they've gone for. Will it be a sort of spell book style where you like have to learn individual spells, or will it be you pick up your spells as specific talent abilities? I think that'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, I'm just extremely curious. I know Johnny shared something, and we know it's called Essence, and I think he mentioned in like the Reddit post that there's like a draw essence action.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Which like I saw that and I was just like, man, he really is Tom Holland.
He really is.
And then the next things are like sort of game mechanics type stuff, less paths, but things like archaeology endeavors. So, I mean, I feel like you could already do an archaeology endeavor as like a discovery endeavor. So I want to see how this is different.
Right.
Hazards, so traps, which are a staple of the fantasy genre. It's not really a thing, particularly in like dungeon crawls and like that sort of room by room fantasy, whereas like traps aren't a big thing in say a Stormlight.
Yeah, I'd say you might be able to see those more in Mistborn probably, but even then, like, I don't know how much it'll be. So the fact that they're adding, to me, it must not be in Mistborn that much if they're literally like creating something for Plotweaver in this. So that'll be pretty cool to see how they interpret it.
Well, and like, what will hazards mean? Will hazards be purely environmental? Will they be things like characters can set up? That would be interesting. Then expeditions, which maybe this is a way to gamify travel more. I already kind of did my travel being gamified as like long endeavors, so it'll be curious to see what that means. And then weave crafting, which I'm 90% sure is magic or like enchanting items.
Oh yeah. Enchanting items would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'm almost wondering if this will be like their magic version of an artifabrian, which an artifabrian's kind of a magic anyway, a little bit, but more on the mechanical
Yeah.
side. But
And
yeah,
then we get this cool piece of artwork in the newsletter, uh, this sort of sketch thing. We have what looks like a like really rocky spire in a magically blasted landscape. It looks very alien and cool. And then a couple things that are like clearly ruins with nature overtaking them,
hmm
and some like dark passageways in deeper into the ruin that really give an ominous vibe. And I want to see them colored. Uh,
yeah, I know, right?
like
I also
I
love the
like
little note
this
at the
style
bottom
that they have.
left.
Oh, that's fantasy.
Yeah, that just cracks me up. Yeah, but definitely like because like the city at the bottom looks very like like
So there are these temple complexes in Southeast Asia.
yeah, that's I was like,
Um,
or even like because I was almost thinking even like a little bit of like Southeast Asia, a little bit of like Indian,
yeah,
like
100%
yeah,
kind of gives that sort of vibe. Especially
but
with
then
a
I'm
lot of
even
like the rounded lines of architecture and stuff. It
yeah, and the
and
ruins stuff
yeah.
gives me a lot of like Celtic vibe, like Scotland, Ireland, like
You're talking about
like
the big like dolmen stone with the hole through
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that 100 if you put Stonehenge in that picture, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I mean, let's go mess with the Fae." Like
Yeah. That one reminds me of like a random encounter I had in a game once where I gave like there was a riddle and there was just a magical crystal floating in the wasteland and the
yeah.
players had to solve it to figure out how to approach it safely, otherwise it zapped them to death.
Oh
Um
man, or even the way the
and
Wheel
that
of Time
pillar
show
there
did.
gives that vibe.
Yeah, it also gives me a little bit of like the way the Wheel of Time show did entrance to the ways in season 1.
Yeah, it's very oh man, that was cool.
Yeah,
Man,
that was
I
cool,
miss
wasn't it?
that show.
I know.
Uh, and then yeah, then there's just other stuff about like, hey, they're preparing for the playtest. They had over 300 responses to their closed alpha playtest, so not everyone's getting in it, but there will be more rounds. So if you don't make it into the first one, you'll probably be invited later in the summer. Um, there's a cool article from Fisher from last month spinning up the playtest. We didn't really talk about that, but
Yeah,
people
that's
should read
true.
it. It's a very cool and informative article. And then the
And we've
article
done
from this game or from this uh, newsletter is talking about talents in the CosmereRPG and Plotweaver, which we'll get to in a moment here. Kyle, you were going to say something.
Oh no, you're good. I was gonna say that like Fisher's like we've done some playtesting for different games, and like Fisher's article is really good to read because I do think sometimes like getting that insight into what the designers are looking for is good. And like I read through that article and it really does a good job of describing like where playtesters can really maximize benefit on helping make the game. So I definitely think it's worth a read. And yeah, the talents and plot weaving. Yeah, go ahead and roll on that because it is. I haven't got to read the whole article, but like I really dig the charts. Big chart fan.
Yeah. And so this article, I'm not going to read it like we said, but sort of the crux of it. And I think this is very interesting. This is also from Max Brook, who we have heard about from like everyone we've talked to, but not no. He's like an enigma. No one's seen him, uh, and he just does work and creates amazing games. Um, and he's talking about sort of the flow of the game engine for Plotweaver and then also what talents are kind of meant to do. And so the idea is that talents are like the main mechanical means by which players feel like they have a shortcut in the typical flow of play, and that it's important for them to feel impactful so they feel like they keep up with magical abilities, which is, I think, a very important balance they struck, particularly in the Stormlight books, where it's so important that you have your mundane characters like an Adolin keeping up with, if not surpassing, your magical ones like Shallan or Kaladin occasionally.
Yep.
And so like, it's important that those talents provide opportunities for the character who took them to shine and use them in a special way. And that that like ties into a lot of GM advice that we've given in the, if your player takes the magical special ability that explodes every bunny, well, you got to make sure there's some bunnies,
Yeah.
you know, like there has to be something for them to use that ability for. And obviously he's much more like verbose and educated in the way he speaks about it. I really recommend reading the article if you can. Just go to like plotweaver.com and then news. Um, but it's a
Yeah.
cool insight into like the importance of talents and the way that we play this game. And I think it's really cool to think of from a design perspective of like, okay, if I'm going to design a custom path, what is this talent doing? What does it get us and where does it leave the situation?
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see them starting to share stuff like this because like, they've talked a lot about Plotweaver being the way you're going to be able to design in their setting because like obviously with the Cosmere RPG it's tied to an IP. They don't own the IP. So like Brandon sets the rep, right? But for this, like they want to see all the homebrew campaigns, including as well as talents. So like I think giving you that flowchart and that explanation from someone who does this, and as we've mentioned, everyone has talked about how great of a game designer Max is. Like it just is a really cool way to break it down, explain how the talent works, when a talent would be useful, so on and so forth. Like just a really good read and definitely something to keep in mind, because the next part of the article does talk about a Patreon that Brotherwise is going to be launching, where they're going to be launching the Plotweaver Academy in May. It'll be $5 a month, and it's going to have some benefits for like Plotweaver design guidance, which is going to be access to internal design guidance documents, like Patreon post, monthly Q&As, maybe even early access to some adventures. Like that'll be a really cool way for people to jump in, and be able to like really get some access to possibly learning how to do this. And they do very much spell out, they're like, hey, revenue from this is going to go right back into just making Plotweaver better, like creating other programs, expanding community development, like all these things that do cost money. Like so a lot of this is just a way to make this game bigger and better than ever because it's not tied to it. So Plotweaver is just very much, it honestly feels a little grassroots right now, where it's like they have the reference to the Cosmere RPG, but the people that just got excited about the mechanic now being able to like, I'm sure there's more to come. I can't imagine that this almost felt like, hey, we're just dropping this in here to give you a heads up it's coming. I am sure there will be more announced from that. I don't know, $5, like I've signed up for way worse Patreons than that for
So you think you're going to sign up for it?
I'm 1,000% signed up for this.
Okay.
Like because I don't have as much, like you, me, and about game design, and like you and Carson have just so much more experience homebrewing and coming up with ideas. Like Carson's sold stuff on Drive-Thru RPG. Like I have never, hell, I didn't even think about running a game until January of last year. So like, let
Yeah.
alone actually designing for it. So like, I need that if I want to catch up with everybody that has so much experience, just to be able to help out. Like I'm not even trying to get hired as a freelancer for Brotherwise, but like if I can help homebrew some stuff or come up with some talents, help people walk through stuff, the more educated I can be on it. So yeah, I'm 1,000%.
Okay, so you're into it.
Yep.
I'm a little on the fence. I don't know. Like I don't know what it will bring me like in terms of like opportunity cost sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see once like more information comes out.
Yeah.
We like
I did
full
not.
transparency, we might get it just to talk about it for the podcast. Like that's,
Right. That's
you
fair.
know, that's a thing.
Yeah. Because
Uh
it's an interesting concept, for sure. And I'm very intrigued to see what they're going to do.
yeah. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's really like the newsletter. It was a quick talk, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a short one.
Yeah. But hey, that's what these bonus episodes.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts about the stuff that's in there that we've seen
It
so far?
it really gets me excited to see where they're going to take fantasy because I think so many, like just even from the names, as dumb as it sounds, like the names give me an idea that they're like trying to get a little outside the box of it, because I think that a lot of fantasy RPGs can be very like samey same. Like
Yeah,
if you don't really know the difference between Pathfinder and D&D, like from the outside looking in, it looks the
yeah.
same,
What's the
right?
difference? Yeah,
Like so I'm glad that they are trying to differentiate it, and that they're gonna put their own like Brotherwise spin on it. um
yeah. I'm super excited for Plotweaver. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone looked at it, but I did like my mock-up of the beginning of an elf, a halfling, a half or an orc, and a dwarf ancestry
Yeah, that is.
for
I
that
will be
little thing
looking
I'm
at that.
running.
Yep, I will be looking at that this weekend, so I can, because I know you're wanting us to use Stormlight stuff, but I'm like, hey, like I want to use one of these other ancestries. I don't need to just be a human or a singer. Let's play with
Yeah.
some stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. I think this is probably not interesting for people. It's talking about a little like homebrew project I have going on. I think specifically not singer.
Yeah,
Uh, I think
yeah,
one of these like quote unquote traditional fantasy ancestries or human.
yep,
But that'll be a different podcast episode to talk about.
for
So
sure.
thank
Stay
you,
tuned.
people, and remember this episode is sponsored by Star Wars. No, it's not. That
Oh
Star
man, I
Wars isn't a
wish.
company. Doesn't sponsor anyone. Just have a good day. Be kind. Wash your behind. Kyle, if you want to take us away.
Absolutely. So thank you for listening to this breaking news episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that bell, and you'll find out when we shadow drop episodes because I'm probably just shadow dropping this tonight. So there's a plug for you. But until next time, let's roll our plot die and raise the stakes. This has been Complicated Opportunity.
Woo!